show you Shapr3D just for the heck of it. So here's the product. I've already messed with this one a little bit, so I'm going to show you some things. So if I want to get rid of something, really easy, double click, and you notice you get controls on it. I'm just going to hit the back arrow, delete, it's gone. Here's half of a lightsaber, delete, gone. Here's part I sliced off. So let's do something. I'm going to add a circle, and I'm looking at it from the top right now, and I'm sliding it around by holding the left button on my mouse and just moving so you can get into it. The grid right now shows that it is 5 millimeters. Notice upper right corner. So every one of these squares is 5 millimeters, and then the larger lines are 10. So from here to here, 50 millimeters. And if I want to put in a circle, I can do it anywhere. I'm going to hit the letter C, and it's asking me where do you want to put the circle. I'll just put it here and pull it to whatever size you want. Done. I'm going to hit escape to get out of the drawing mode. I'm going to grab it because right now it's a sketch. It's not actually an object. I couldn't print it. I couldn't do anything with it. I'm going to grow it, just drive it up to whatever I want to, or I could tell it precisely how tall I want it. Let's make it exactly 50 millimeters tall for some reason. If I wanted to, so I can resize anything. Right now it is 86.0233 millimeters in diameter. Let's make it 50. So we got a 50 by 50 cylinder. And oh golly, I'd like to put another cylinder on top of it. Double click to grab it. This is an object that is a Shapr3D object. So double clicking, it selects it. A single click selects an edge, so I can stretch, or top, so I can stretch. So if I double click and hit copy and go up a little bit, I now have a copy of it exactly the same size, but I moved it up 37 millimeters. Now I want to resize it, let's say to that, whatever that is. And there's a cool function, remove. So I'm going to do a Windows B, which is probably Control B on a PC. Windows B, keep this one, cut that one, go by hitting enter, and now I've got a hole. I can still resize that hole any way I want to. Can't move it though. So what happens if you bring in an STL object, something that was on the web? So I'm going to do a file import to current project. I'm going to go take the, let's take the side A of the Vader lightsaber. So now this is an STL object, and so Shapr, it's not a 3D object inside of Shapr. It's not one that Shapr created. So this consists of millions of triangles. And Shapr knows what to do with millions of triangles, but none of them, it's not a line, it's not a square, it's not a circle, it's triangles, tiny little triangles. So if I try to double click on it, nothing happens. I select and unselect. If I click once, I now have control of the object. I can move it around, move it up and down, but that's about all. I can also size it, which is called letter S for size. If I want to make it 50% the size of it, I just put in a 0.5, and there it is. Similar to Bamboo Slicer, you can do the same thing there. So now it's half the size of what it was. But again, I can't grab an object like I can a Shapr object. All I can do really is manipulate it with a few things. But one of the best things you can do is I'm going to make a rectangle, R. Again, I'm still on top of it. I'm looking at it from a oblique angle, but still above it. I'm going to click and drag and drop, and I now have a rectangle. Again, this is a sketch that I'm looking at. By the way, called it Sketch 11, and put it over here. And you can select anything through the menu on this side, which makes it that's really helpful, by the way. And you can rename things. So again, I'm going to take it out of drawing mode. I'm going to grab the rectangle. I'm going to make it taller, and I'm going to make it incredibly thin. 0.01 millimeters. Now you can't print something 0.01 millimeters, but what you can do is I'm going to double click on it. Again, it is a Shapr object, so I can double click on it. I'm going to move it down a little bit, and I'm going to now drag it over to the lightsaber because I want to cut off this part. And same thing as before. Whoops, I'm going to cut. Oh, that's right. This thing was actually tipped just a little bit off angle. So that won't quite work. So I'm going to grab it again. I'm going to move it back, meaning that when they created this STL object, it wasn't perfectly aligned uh, parallel to the grid. But so anyway, this will still work. So notice that I'm just slicing into it a little bit there, and that's not good because then this object will still be attached to that one. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to move it down a little bit more, and still can't tell if that's right. I'll just take more. There. Okay, so now I have a clean plane to cut into it, and I am going to do a Windows, or I'm sorry, Apple Command B, keep, cut, go, and now I have a separate object that I can print. So if I wanted to go print colors and things different than this, gives me more control. Very cool. Also, when exporting from here, I can export this as a step, which is more a format that's more precise, or I can export now, but this thing has to be imported. If I want to print that, it has to be an STL. If I tried to send it out as any other format, this simply wouldn't be exported. But if, let's say I wanted this cylinder to be attached to the lightsaber, double click, slide it onto it, and now those two pieces will export as one STL, and I can bring it into the Bamboo Studio. And so let's see, I gotta hide these guys. So one of the cool things, these are cylinders that I was using for something else. I called them peg, and then when I copied peg, it created peg 1. I can now hide them. If you watch over to the right, when I click the eyeball here, they hide. Isn't that cool? So then when I go do my export, file, export to STL, I'm going to just call this test 1, and I'm putting that into, I don't want to put it there, I want to put it into downloads because it's easy for me to delete things from downloads. I guess I'm going to documents because that's easier. Documents, like I said, and I'm going to save it to documents. I'm going to go over to Bamboo Slicer for the heck of it, Bamboo Studio. Can ignore that one. But I'm gonna, by the way, there's one that I put together, that same thing. So I'm now going to import into Bamboo Studio, import, yeah. And I'm going to go to documents, and I'm gonna go to test 1. And you'll see there it is. Now you notice that it brought it in as one object that has the that weird little circle that I put on it, and it has the half of a lightsaber, and it has the piece that was sliced off of it. And so, of course, the fun part then is you can color it and do some other things with it any way you want to. So very powerful, lots of things that you can do to manipulate it. And so basically anything that you could have brought into Bamboo, by the way, if you bring something as a 3MF into Bamboo, so for example, this one, if I say, oh golly, I've done some manipulation and I want to save it in Bamboo, file, export all objects as STLs, it'll go create a directory with all of these in it, wherever you point it to. So, put it into documents, and I'll go delete it, put it there. Let's see, let's jump over to the Finder. Let's go look at documents. And where did it put it? It put it there somewhere. So there's my test from earlier. Oh, here, it put all of them here as individuals. So I could have pointed to a subdirectory and they would have gone there. So it also saved test 1, the thing that I dropped into there. It remembered its name. And so it created test1stl.stl. So don't want any of those, so I'm going to move those to trash. And I'm going to come back over to Shapr3D. Come on, Shapr. And there's just so much you can do. There's so many powerful things. Oh, text is kind of cool. I'll show you that one real quick. So if I want to do text, I can text. I've downloaded tons of fonts, of course, way too many. And so I'm going to do this. One of my favorite fonts is actually called College. oops, where'd you go? College block. And you just tell it what do you want to type. So let's type in Don. And you notice that it's right there. Now again, we're not creating a Shapr3D object that can be printed. We're creating a sketch. So I'm going to make it much larger. Let's make it, I don't know, 25. And I like that font. You know, it's kind of the college block. That's why they call it that. And if I wanted to have a different font, I prefer this one. You have to be careful because it gets too thin for the printing unless you make a big font. Go back to college. And let's say that that's all fine. Sometimes you have bold, italics, all sorts of other options. I'm going to continue. It's going to ask me where I want to drop it, so I can put it anywhere I want to. Save. Now again, it's a sketch. Doesn't exist yet as something that can be printed. So zoom by scrolling. I'm going to hold the Shift key. Got to be careful not to select an edge when you're doing what I'm about to do. So I'm clicking in the middle of it. Click. I want to make it taller. And cool thing with this is you can do any of the stuff that I just showed you. So I can select it. I can go create a folder over to the left. That folder, I'm going to call it Don, so I can find those letters anytime I want to. I'm going to copy them. Let's bring it over here. Let's bring it up. Let's go on top of it, bring it over. Now it's going to have a little bit of trouble printing this. It would have to create support for the words there. Or I can hit scale and go with, let's say 0.75. And you have to be careful because 0.75, you're not sure where it is, how tall and all that sort of stuff. So this is Don number, I'm still copying. That's why I've got 2 copies of it now. So I can go to Don 3. I selected the most recent one, sorry about that. And put it on there. And now it would print those letters on top like that. Or I could instead, let's say, let's grab Don 2 and let's rotate Don 2, whatever angle we want to. Let's go move it over to here. Is that going to work? Not exactly. Let's put it back mostly this way, just a little bit of a tip. Bring it to there. There we go. And now the fun of removing, that's Don 2. Put it back over here. This is more of a demo than you want, but I'm having fun. So now I'm going to do that same command B. What do I want to keep? I want to keep the circle. Let's say I also want to keep, well, and it's only going to operate on the objects that are selected. I want to remove Don 2. But if I wanted to keep Don, just the letter D, I just change that to a plus. Go done. And now I have my name cut out of it, the O-N cut out, and the D sticking out. And that's kind of a cool object. There's an alignment feature that is very helpful because sometimes you really need to be precise. Alignment doesn't work with an STL object, but it does work with these. So if I wanted to put the D, I have a shortcut set up, so I'm going to have align. I'm going to say, let's align the D. I have to say, yes, that's the object I mean. I'm going to take this surface, and I'm going to say, align it with that surface. And it's precisely touching that. So if I printed this right now, these two would print as one object. They would be solid together. That's how precise it is. And I think that's it. That's a pretty good demo, and I'd love to know what you think.